Hey teachers, in this video, I'd like to walk you through how you can teach your students to use Google in a way that doesn't simply rely on a single keyword or group of keywords, um, and give your students a way to actually get resources that are going to be beneficial for research. So let's go ahead and take a look at two things that I have here. Number one, I've got a blank screen over here with the Omni bar here. That's what the search bar is called. And then I also over here on the left have this document that I've put together based on what we call Google search operators, not keywords, but operators. Operators are characters and words that serve to narrow down or broaden a list of search results. So you'll notice here on the left, these search operators, you have quotations or and, a minus, but a wildcard or an asterisk here. Then you also have this little column right here that says example use. So this actually shows you how we might use those the search operators, and then we'll show you what it actually returns. This sheet is available to you both down below as well as in the email that I'm going to send this out in. So you should have access to the sheet, bookmark it, and I try to keep up with the sheet as often as possible. So what I want you to do is to take a look over here. We're going to actually use some of these examples for you. You'll notice here that I've got an example right here in quotation marks for Chinese emperor. So if I go Command C, and then I just go over here and hit Command V and click that, you'll notice that actually it does give me a list of Chinese emperors, okay, which is really cool. But it also gives me websites that have Chinese emperors in the text of the website and maybe even in the title of the website. Okay. If I go down here, let's just say I want to find Chinese emperors or Chinese dynasties. I can go ahead and click Command C, and then we'll just bring it over here, click Command V. It's going to give me websites with both of these terms in it, and those terms or those websites may be separate. Okay. So, for instance, one website may have Chinese emperors in it, and another website may have Chinese dynasties in it. But either way, all of my search results are going to have Chinese emperors and or Chinese dynasties in it. However, really interesting, if I go ahead and click, let's just say Chinese emperors, and let's just use and there. Now, the websites that come back are going to have Chinese dynasties and Chinese emperors both in the website. All right. So these are very helpful for giving you greater flexibility to retrieve novel information. And I like sometimes if I have related terms, I definitely want to put those two together and try to narrow down the websites that I'm searching for this information on and try to get that information in a more useful format. So if we keep going down, wildcard is a very useful one. So you'll notice here that I've got this quotation. I remember it was called "Great Something Forward." Well, we can just we can copy it. Oh, let's not cut it. Let's go Command Z. Let's go Command C, and then we'll just go up here, Command V, and notice what happens. It automatically is going to put in the most common word, which is probably going to be Great Leap Forward. That was the event in 1958 to 1962. Lots of people starved. Not a very good time in Chinese history. So if we go on down, we can actually see some different uses such as define or cache. Cache will actually give you the last version of a website. In the case a website gets knocked out, Google keeps an index of what that site looked like at a particular time. So for instance, if I just click on cache asiatimes.line or asiatimes.com, one of my favorites, if I just go here, Command V, there we go. Let's see what it does here. There we go. It's going to turn this in right here. I don't want to learn more about cookies. I actually want to get rid of this. There we go. So I can just go to Asia Times Online. Up, it's giving me the actual link here. There we go. So the web cache goes to webcache.google user content. You'll notice here that Google has this little disclaimer up here at the top that tells you what the snapshot of the site is. So anyway, really helpful. File type, if you are simply wanting to try to find papers related to something, a lot of times papers are downloadable, especially academic papers. If you just put that ext or file type colon PDF on there, sometimes it'll actually give you journal articles that you might otherwise have to pay for. So anyway, just a pro tip there. Another pro tip here below is this site piece right here. This one is actually extremely helpful. If I go in and I click Panda site, we'll just copy it and then we'll go ahead and click Command V. You notice what I'm going to get here are articles that are from Chinese universities. Okay. And this is a top level country, top level domain, this .cn or .eu or .uk. .au. All of these can be found over here in this little link right here that says country level country code top level domain types. So if you want let's just say a perspective of a particular country, you can always type in, for instance, your search term and then type in site and then dot whatever that top level domain name is, and it's going to give you a perspective from that country. So we could do this. Let's just try this. We're going to do a very controversial topic. We're going to do Tiananmen Square. And I want you to, this actually will show you Google's, this will actually show you Google's site bias. So I'm going to click on this and I want you to notice that the Tiananmen Square incident right here is actually brought up. China does not allow anything within its Great Firewall to be published regarding Tiananmen Square as an incident. Tiananmen Square is a place in China, and it's a place of great reverence and great patriotism that Chinese hold dear. It is not an incident. Well, notice here that the very first thing we're going to come up on is this very obscure link Springer Com 443 Web VPN, whatever. If you click on it, you're not going to get anything because basically this is trying to get you through to a Chinese website. You know, whenever you click on this, you'll see what happens. It's just going to bring up a bunch of gibberish. It's going to bring up a slideshow, but that quite frankly, if we were to translate this, let's see, drag the slider to the right to fill the puzzle. Okay, so we just drag it to the right. There we go. Then we're going to click on next. Okay, let's see what happens. And now it's going to make me sign into a web VPN. All right. So anyway, I'm not going to sign into a web VPN. By the way, typically, if you want to find anything in China that is controversial or runs counter to the state narrative, you're going to have to use a VPN to get out. So we're not going to use that web VPN for right now. We're actually going to go back and just take a look at the things that are found in China. However, let's just remove that .cn off the end. Let's see what other places, what .edu websites in the United States have to say about Tiananmen Square. Wow. Okay. There's some kind of incident there. 30 years later, Tiananmen Square massacre. Okay. Now we're getting a very different perspective on Tiananmen Square. Okay. So this can be very useful to show you how sites throughout the world may be censored based on their location. A very good object lesson here. And so, anyway, this is one that I actually teach a lesson about. If you'd like for me to come into your class and to teach this lesson, especially for history and perhaps even for English, I'm happy to do so, but it does have to do with the Iranian hostage crisis. And I do believe I've taught this for a few of your classes before. So anyway, let's go ahead and continue on. Notice here that we can have returns websites that are related to the Shanghai Daily newspaper site. Okay, so it may return other newspapers or it may return other news sources. You'll notice here that all in title, if I use this one will actually give me the search terms in the title of the page. So there we go. So notice this is the Terracotta Warriors. Terracotta Warriors. It's going to be in the title. All of these are going to be in the title. Okay. If I were to come up with, let's just say, all in the URL, Chinese food. Okay. So we'll just go ahead and do an interesting one right here. Now notice that Chinese food should be in the URL of the it should be in the URL right here. So if I were to click on that URL, there you go. There's the Chinese food right there. So this is going to come up in that Uniform Resource Locator or URL. You'll notice here that I have the ability to pull stocks. I have the ability to pull weather. I can get a map very quickly of Beijing. So if I just do this and come over here, Command V, boom, should pop up a nice map for me. I can click on that map and it's going to open up Google Maps for me. Sometimes that will open up Apple Maps for you. It is especially if you use that in Safari. Notice we're using it in Chrome here, so it's going to pull that. Down here, you'll notice here source Asia Times Online. This will give us clicking on the news tab will return news sources from Asia Times Online. So if I just do this, Command C, and then go over here and hit Command V, and then let's just click on news. There we go. And every article that I find here is going to be from Asia Times Online. If you don't read Asia Times Online and you're interested in international affairs, especially in regard to Asia, this is one of your top sites. You'll notice also here this before and after. This one can be a little bit tricky. Notice that I used Hu Jintao, who was the former president or premier of China from, let's see, from I believe 2009 to 2017, something like that. So anyway, but he is actually, or he was actually president of China. I better not say premier. So anyway, notice here that this is things about Hu Jintao before 2019 and then after 2019. And this might be useful in the case that you want to see what if there was a major event in history that happened before or after a certain date and see what the references were to that. One thing that I will tell you is that this only works in the age of the internet. So if an article, if say before December 7th, 1941 and after December 7th, 1941, sorry, it's not going to work. It was before the age of the internet. So anyway, that being said, you can use these terms, but it must relate to articles that were posted on the internet in the age of the internet. So anyway, that's all I have for you. If you once again, if you would like for me to come into your class, especially if it's a history class or if it's an English class, and you want to learn more about how we can get perspectives of different events, perspectives of particular articles from two different places in the world to really broaden our worldview and to try to understand things through other people's eyes, then please let me know. You can email me at jbar@ccsk12.com. Feel free to stop by the Learning Commons and see me or radio me. Thank you very much.